What's up, brand builders? Stephen Hurahan here at BrandMasterAcademy.com, and in this video you're going to learn what brand attributes are with top brand examples, so you can understand the elements that make your brand human and define the associations that you want to align with your brand. Now, if you're new to the channel and you want to build brands that go beyond the visuals and the logo using strategy, psychology, and creative thinking, then you're in the right place. Hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. If you want to fast track your results, make sure you grab the Pro Brand Strategy Blueprint. It's a free download and the link is in the description. Now, attributes are something that we humans create to make things easier to understand. Now, this is developed within our primitive brain, and it's been developed over millions and millions of years as a survival mechanism. So we want to quickly understand whether something represents survival or represents danger, and attributes help us do that. So what are brand attributes? Well, although the choice of brand doesn't really represent survival or danger, it's still a decision-making process that goes on in the primitive brain. So the primitive brain assigns attributes to brands just as it will assign attributes to other people or other things. So when our brain assigns these attributes to a brand, it gives us that ease of understanding, and that helps us in the buying decision. Today, there are so many different products and services and brands available in the market, and it's sometimes very, very difficult to know which ones to buy, which ones to go after, and attributes help us to provide meaning to the brands that are in the market to make that decision-making process a lot easier on us. So why are brand attributes so important? Well, as I've touched on earlier, it's all about that meaning and all about that ease of understanding. Now, although we are pretty advanced creatures, we're still very, very primitive in our behavior. Now, our primitive brain makes most of our decisions, and that primitive brain is about 500 million years old. It doesn't realize that we're in an environment now where we don't have to run away from predators, or we don't have to hunt our prey in order to survive. So it applies the same primitive decision-making process to everything we do, and that includes brands. So we as brands need to be able to define what we want to represent to our audience, and then define the attributes that will align with that meaning, and that will help our audience in that decision-making process. So what's the difference between brand personality and brand attributes? Well, brand personality is a very topical word that is becoming more and more influential in modern branding today. And the reason for that is that modern brands need to become more human. They need to engage their audience on a human level, because that is what the consumer is demanding. Consumers don't want to do business with brands that are just corporate money-making machines, and they would prefer to do business with brands who get them, who understand them, and communicate with them on a human level. So that's why brand personality has become so important. And your brand personality is essentially the collection of attributes that are assigned and aligned with your brand. So once you've defined what it is that you want to mean to your audience and the personality that will attract them, then it's all about defining those individual attributes that will align with that personality and align with that meaning. So let's have a look at a brand example and some examples of brand attributes to see just how effective they are. Now, if I was to ask you to think of a specific brand, you would probably think of the logo first, then you would probably think of the product. But beyond that logo and beyond that product, there is an underlying meaning and an underlying image that you have of that brand. And it is there through the experiences, whether direct or indirect, that you have had with those brands, and they are made up of attributes and associations. And they create this image, this vivid image of what that brand means and the position that it wants to own in the mind of its audience, the position that it wants to own in that market. And if you don't believe me, let's have a look. Let's play a game. Let's have a look at some brand attributes and see if you can guess that brand. So here are some attributes belonging to an iconic brand that no doubt you've had either direct or indirect experiences with, which have formed the meaning that you associate with this brand. So let's have a look at them. Rebel, outlaw, rebellious, rugged, gritty, tough, rough, American heritage, timeless, and bold. So did you guess the brand? Well, it is Harley-Davidson. Chances are you guessed the brand, and if you did, it is because Harley-Davidson has embedded these attributes into your mind through the experiences, whether direct or indirect, that you have had with their brand. Now, we've all heard the old adage, a brand is not a logo, but there are very few definitions or descriptions of what a brand actually is in a way that really provides us with a solid meaning and a solid understanding of what brands are. But brand attributes go a long way to illustrate exactly what a brand is made up of, and the fact that it is a perception that lives in the mind of the audience. So as you build your next brand, think about the meaning that you want to own in the mind of your audience, and think about the attributes that will align with that meaning. If you want to learn how to define the brand attributes that will form the foundation of your brand personality, then this video will help you out. Until next time, brand like a master, and I'll see you in the next video.